And many of these genetic males now are turning into females.
Wait. So they literally saying, you mean to tell me these pesticides are literally turning frogs, male frogs, into female frogs? The stuff that we're spraying on our food is turning male frogs into female frogs.
Money grows, peace can grow, minus that can grow, only money grows.
Welcome back to the kingdom. It's your man King Marcel, and we back with another video. I got some more disturbing videos that I found on TikTok that I really think you all need to see. Make sure you guys hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so that you're notified whenever I do drop a video here. We on the road to 500 subscribers, y'all, and we almost there. We just need 6 more subscribers, so we're gonna try to get there with this video. But without further ado, let's get right into this one.
Come here, let me holler at you real quick. Humor me. Because this image at the bottom never really sat right with me. I couldn't understand how you got this big ass dinosaur with baby hands. You know what I mean? Like, how the hell does that make sense? How the hell is that an evolutionary trait? But when you take this image up here into context and you think about all the stories and mythology of dragons, even in the Bible you have dragons or serpents, things of that nature. Even the Chinese zodiac has a dragon in it. Then you start seeing things a little bit differently, because it's like, you know, for the most part, I believe that they've been lying to us about a lot of shit that they taught us, but that's neither here nor there. But this makes too much fucking sense. I mean, the more I look at it, it pisses me off. They really try to play in our face. But yeah, it makes more sense that you have like little hands on wings than baby hands running around in the fucking forest. It's like, it's crazy. But yeah, let me add another conspiracy to the pot. It's crazy, right?
And it just makes more sense. Like he said, we see that dragons come up in literally every culture that's on the earth. No one ever talked about no dinosaurs, but they did talk about and speak about dragons. It's literally a part of the Chinese zodiac. But they want us to believe dragons never existed when there's all this folklore and history behind them. Come on, it's crazy.
So, wow. When we started talking about releasing the Epstein files, I'm like, this is a no-brainer. President Trump will just roll them out on a big cart himself. Stacks and stacks and stacks of the Epstein files, because obviously Bill Clinton is all in there. And Hillary Clinton. That's what I had been told all along, right? Well, it was the most shocking thing when I sat in a conference meeting and I learned that the president didn't want to release the Epstein files. I was like, what? Yeah, come to find out, he was very much against it. So we kept on trying and kept on talking about it. And then the president told Mike Johnson, no, do not bring that resolution to the floor for a vote. He told the Rules Committee, and Johnson told the Rules Committee, no, you will not mark up any bill in the Rules Committee that will allow the Epstein files to be released. And the resistance built and built and built. He told Pam Bondi, don't release the Epstein files. He told everybody, don't release the Epstein files. So we persisted. Because that's what we promised. That's what we campaigned on. Transparency and accountability, especially to pedophiles. How is that complicated? So it got to be such a gigantic amount of resistance coming from the president and the speaker and everyone, the DOJ. I said, fine, I'll do the unthinkable. I'll go over there and I'll sign my name on a discharge petition that all the Democrats are signing their name on. Talk about crossing the aisle. Me, a general in the MAGA army, crossing over to sign my name with a bunch of Democrats. Yeah, I did. Because women were raped when they were 16 and 14 years old. And he was a convicted pedophile, and we knew there were many with him. So I signed my name on the discharge petition. Oh, did I get my name on the naughty list then? Let me tell you. That became a real issue at the White House. Well, I'll never forget it. I was in my office in the Rayburn building, and I got a phone call from the president. And he was at the White House, and he wanted to talk to me about the discharge petition that I'd signed my name on. And he said, Marjorie, you're going to have to take your name off that discharge petition. We can't let, this is a hoax. We can't carry this. This is a hoax. It's a Democrat hoax. And we've got to just put this away and stop doing this. And he said, my friends are going to get hurt.
Your friends?
He said his friends would get hurt if we released the Epstein files.
Did y'all notice? You will have one big ass company, but what it is, it's a holding company, which means it holds multiple other different services and businesses as well. I bet you didn't know that Amazon does all of this shit and controls all of this shit and have all these different brands. I bet you just only thought that Amazon was a damn delivery company. You didn't know that Amazon owns Twitch, bro. You didn't know that Amazon was AWS, Amazon Web Service, and controls most of the cloud in the world. You didn't know that they have Whole Foods, bro. You didn't know that that was Amazon. You didn't know Amazon was Ring, that they bought out Ring. You will have one company, but guess what, y'all? It's called a holding company. Well, that one company will control a whole bunch of other shit and do a whole bunch of other things. Nigga, did you know that it was no difference between an Audi, a Porsche, a Lamborghini, a Bugatti, or a Bentley? They was all manufactured and produced by the same fucking company, which is Volkswagen. Did you know that a Lamborghini is nothing but a fucking Volkswagen, just a more expensive version of it? Did you know that a Bentley is nothing, it's just a fucking Volkswagen? Volkswagen is the holding company, but these are all the different car brands that they own and control.
And this just shows you all the illusion of choice. They come out with all of these different brands that you don't even know are just a part of a holding company, and make you choose between them all to give you the illusion that you have a choice. Even when you get down to the nitty gritty, you find out that BlackRock and Vanguard are part of all of these companies, including the holding company. So if all of these companies are owned by the same individuals, they're making the bag off of us no matter what we buy. And that's why I feel like a video like this is so important, so that you all learn that you need to create a trust. You need to create an LLC, and you need to have a holding company. Let's even out the playing field, because this is so that the illusion of choice disappears and we actually have choices.
Oh, and manufacturer. A Bentley is a Volkswagen, bro. It's just a more expensive version of the shit. There's no difference between a fucking BMW and a Rolls Royce. You ever wonder why the fucking Acura looks like exactly like a Honda? Well, that's why, bro. You ever wonder why a fucking Buick be looking like a Cadillac sometime? Because it's owned by GM, gang. You ever wonder why a fucking Nissan looks like an Infiniti? Because it's owned by Nissan. That LVMH is the holding company of all the other expensive brands in the world, all the major ones. So look how much this holding company itself owns. Look at all, nigga, they have Christian Dior, Givenchy, Louis Vuitton, Celine, Kenzo, Marc Jacobs, Christian Dior, Sephora, Stella. How many brands y'all see? It's all the same shit. So look at Bernard Arnault, right? Right there, number 5 on the billionaires list. It's him right there, y'all. Bernard Arnault. We just seen him.
Wake up.
If you call me a colonizer, I'm gonna make you fucking cry, and I'm not gonna feel bad about it, okay? It's not my fault that my ancestors were better at fighting than yours. Okay, it's not my fault your ancestors were so bad at fighting they got fucking colonized.
Smallpox, measles, influenza,
Exactly.
typhus, bubonic plague, and other infectious diseases endemic in Europe played a decisive role in European conquests by decimating many people on other continents. The importance
Wasn't
of
fighting.
lethal microbes in human history is well illustrated by Europeans' conquest and depopulation of the New World. Far more Native Americans died in bed from Eurasian germs than on the battlefield from European guns and swords. Those germs undermined Indian resistance by killing most Indians and their leaders and by sapping the survivors' morale. This is a common misconception by this demographic. Because they don't know anything about their own history other than the myths and the lies that they tell themselves. When that demographic was rolling around in their own filth, all over the world, people were thriving in civilizations that had gone on for millennia, practically. And all of these people in all these countries all had bathing rituals. African tribes and Mesoamerican tribes, Native American tribes that all have bathing rituals. And you can see if you spend any time on this app that there are people from this demographic proudly boasting about not using washcloths and not washing their legs or their feet. When you talk about things like culture, I mean, this is an aspect of this demographic's culture. It's unfortunate that people are still this ill-informed about their own history. It's like they live in a reality that when they say things out loud to other people, like it's like they're from another dimension or something like that. People don't think before they post things.
Not much at all.
I like solving the puzzle. I like the CSI. I also like frogs, and so I also feel a real drive to help understand how pesticides and other chemicals are affecting amphibian populations.
Hayes and his students have been looking for clues in the Salinas Valley.
50% of the U.S.'s agricultural products come out of California. Something like 85% of the country's lettuce comes out of Salinas, 90% of the almonds. It's called the salad bowl of America. California uses more pesticides than any other state. The second biggest is Florida. Things like chlorpicrin is used out here on the strawberries. Chlorpicrin is a nerve gas. These are guys who are applying it, they're out there picking it. Methyl bromide is a fumigant, something they pump into the soil. What are some of the other big ones, you guys? Diazomethazine. This will all end up in the river that we're working in here. It might look like we're out in the bush somewhere, but 15 feet on either side, we're surrounded by agriculture, and the runoff ends up in this river. All of the algae is a result of all the nutrients, because a lot of fertilizers are used in agriculture. And once those fertilizers get into the water, you get these blooms of algae. I wouldn't say it's a sign of a healthy river. This is a site where we typically find compromised immune systems, tadpoles that aren't able to fight off disease. Our data so far suggests that the mixture of pesticides causes an increase in stress hormones. And those stress hormones cause immunosuppression, which leads to the...
I'm sorry. I know they trying to do research and they, you know what I'm saying? And I thank them for doing this, you know what I'm saying, so that we all know what's going on. But ain't no way in hell will be stepping my foot in that water. And they ain't got on no gloves or nothing. They just touching this stuff after they just described to us how many chemicals is just runoff going from different farms into that water. And they going in there and touching the frogs, the tadpoles, and the water itself that they saying is heavily diluted with chemicals. Like I'm sorry, that's at least put on some safety equipment.
Ability to respond to any kind of disease pathogen.
Hayes is testing the effects of chemicals like atrazine, a common herbicide.
We have a whole family of animals where we've eliminated the female chromosome.
Specimen 01.
These animals that we know are genetic males have been exposed to atrazine for their entire life. And many of these genetic males now are turning into females.
Wait. So they literally saying, you mean to tell me these pesticides are literally turning frogs, male frogs, into female frogs? The stuff that we're spraying on our food is turning male frogs into female frogs. Like, every day. They
look like they're in a sack. These are actually yolk eggs ready to be laid. What's happening is you're skewing sex ratios. You can get genetic bottlenecking, which can cause crashes. And quite frankly, if you're a genetic male, it'd be nice if you developed as a genetic male. And now we have a chemical very common in the environment that's effectively sex reversing animals.
So what's that doing to
I'll
us?
show you something pretty amazing, scientifically speaking. The one that's sort of remarkable is this pair. These are both males. The one on the bottom, acting as the female, we affectionately refer to as Darnell. He's a genetic male that not only acts like a female, he lays eggs like a female.
Bro, I just got so heated. I just got so pissed off. What?
When have you ever seen a Royal Fly commercial? Let alone walk through an airport. Let alone take an Uber anywhere and have to carry her own luggage. But nothing's happening. This is proof right here that things are happening. And things have been happening for a very long time. Some people are in for a very rude awakening.
Fine. I guess I'll keep posting on this FedWatch app. I guess I'll keep posting on this Fed ass app that was bought out by the most evil people in the world in order to censor us because they have a deep, dark plan for what happens next. But I guess I'll keep posting on it because we couldn't get it together in time as per usual and can't agree on absolutely anything to get us to a different app. But that's not even what this video is about. This video is about how summer of 2026 is going to change the trajectory of the world. Not just the United States, the world. We have a few good normal weeks left in the United States. We have barely that. I give it a month before we see extreme fuel shortages, not just gas prices, shortages, which are two completely different things. And people are seriously underestimating what that means. I drive a Ford F-150, okay? I am a nurse. I cannot work remote. My patients need me very much so to be in person, okay? People like me cannot afford $300 tanks of gas. It was $100 last week for me to fill my truck, and it wasn't even empty. I had a little bit over a quarter of tank of gas left, and it already cost me $100 to fill. These past couple of weeks, it's been about $80, $83 for me to fill my entire 32-gallon tank in my F-150. I will not be able to afford to sustain that. What happens when your essential workers cannot get to work because A, they can't afford to, and B, there is no fuel. There's none because they are burning each other's fuel left and right. The Middle East is a war zone right now, and they're fighting that war via fuel. Russia too, okay? We are not in a good spot right now. And I want to compare it to COVID, and a lot of people are saying it's COVID in terms of the fact that other countries are addressing this preemptively before it hits, and they're trying to reserve precious fuel reserves for things that actually need precious fuel reserves before their entire population, I don't know, starves because there's no fuel and no fuel to bring in goods and no fuel to move goods. And it's like that COVID in a sense that we're going to beat the curve, flatten the curve, or whatever the fuck the saying was. I don't know. I was traumatized, so I barely remember it. But we're going to sit here and we're going to watch all of these other countries do things like, but weeks ago, by the way, weeks ago, these countries have already done this weeks ago. This isn't brand new. And other countries are joining in, doing things like license plate numbers when you can get fuel, making remote workers remote again, or fully remote or hybrid, making people only fill about 60% of their tanks. I just watched a video of a woman in Vietnam who they wouldn't even let her fill her motorbike all the way. Her motorbike. What does that even hold? How many gallons does it even hold? Okay. We are already behind. The United States is already behind, and the rebound rubber band snap that is going to occur when the market manipulation crashes, because there's only so much you can do to manipulate the market before we can't fake it anymore. They can't play with the market anymore. They're not going to be able to, and the rebound effect is going to be devastating. When they physically can no longer hold it back, because the fuel doesn't exist. And on top of that, places like where I'm sitting right now, Colorado, already announcing a phase 1 water ban because we are in dire need of water and it's going to become a very dire situation very shortly. They expect that Lake Dillon literally might dry up because it's precious water reserves that they're going to need to dip into. That lake at its deepest is sometimes about 260 feet, I learned today. And they're going to have to dip into that enough that it might dry up. Fuel shortages, water shortages, which in turn will lead to goods shortages, food. We couldn't even handle toilet paper. What makes you think the United States will come out on the other side of this? And like I said, I digressed, but it's comparative to COVID, but at the same time, essential workers kept showing up. I was still able to go to work. I worked through 2020. I graduated nursing school in May of 2020 and started my career almost immediately. I was able to get to work on time and in uniform the entire time. What happens when essential workers can't do that? What happens when industries like the boating industry and the RV industry, which obviously will affect me? I literally pull my house with my truck, so gonna have to figure that out because I get 9 miles per gallon as a travel nurse when I'm pulling my home on wheels. What happens then? What happens then? Genuinely, what do we think? What do we think is going to happen? We are on borrowed time already. We're on borrowed time only because the billionaires are playing fucking chess with the stock market. It's the only reason that gas prices have been hanging out at $3.99. Just fucking do it. Just do it. $3.99, $3.98, $3.95, like toying with us, like playing in our fucking faces. Staying right below $4 a gallon because they know. They know when that rubber band snaps, it's going to be 7, 8, 9, 10. Yo, that's $320 for me per tank. And I'm not even, like, I choose to drive a truck, okay? But at the same time, that's still extremely expensive for people who drive, like, Toyota Corollas. Are you going to be able to afford the, what, $160 it's going to cost you to fill up your Toyota Corolla? We're already so behind the rest of the world. We're already so behind that the rest of the world is going to watch us implode. Implode on ourselves. Genuinely. I mean, it's just so crazy because I know what comes after this and I know what's going to happen. But I'm having trouble accepting even my own truth. Even the truth that I know to be true. I'm like, can it get that bad? But what other way is there when the fuel won't even exist because they burned it into the ozone layer and melted the ozone layer clean off the fucking entire Middle East? Like, come on, people!
I've been telling you all for like the past couple months, ever since that conflict started, start preparing, stock up on food, stock up on water. Because that rubber band is going to pop. And I know y'all see the gas prices going down. Where I'm at right now, gas is all the way down to $360, $350 in certain areas. And I'm truly like scared because I think like, okay, is this going to be as low as it's going to get before the rubber band pops and it just skyrockets again? And this time it won't just be at $4 or $5, that it's going to go higher because the game that these folks been playing at our expense, like she said, the whole rest of the world, and a lot of people aren't paying attention to what's going on in other parts of the world. They are already having shortages. They are already implementing things to try to save gas, and gas is going up tremendously. A lot of countries certain countries in particular, they don't even have gas coming to their stoves. I need you all to understand that they're not even having gas come to the stoves in their homes because of the shortages that they're having. And we just here living it up. I'm seeing people talking about going on vacation, and even though they see that the ticket prices for airlines are going up tremendously because of the fuel. Spirit Airlines just closed, but no one's paying attention. Everybody's thinking, oh, this is just going to pass, when that conflict is still going on today. And let's say it do stop. Let's say it stopped right now today. We're still about to feel the effects of it. Going into the summer, with how much time went by that we wasn't getting gas, that the world wasn't getting gas. This damn near goes on into the winter. And that's if they stop the conflict right now, and they are not. So please, I'm literally begging y'all at this point. I know everything seems normal and everything's going back to normal. It's not. Please prepare for your family's sake, or you will regret it in the next couple months. I'm trying to tell y'all.
Oh my God, I just looked this up. This video is not to scare anybody, but also, not only did I look up the facts about this rare form of hantavirus, but also I looked up the whole entire timeline of the ship. Listen to this. So there is a particular strain of hantavirus that is rare, that is spread person to person, and it is often found in Chile and Argentina. This ship was from Argentina. That's where everybody got on the boat March 20th. It was part of a 35-day Southern Atlantic excursion. They passed through Antarctica. They passed through, is it called South St. George Island or something like that, Georgia Island, other small islands in the Southern Atlantic. Yes, people got off the boat to do excursions and stuff like that. Then on April 11th, a 70-year-old man got really sick and died. Doctors on board did not know that he had the hantavirus when he died. So then, April 12th through the 20th, the ship docks at St. Helena, which is like a very remote British island, and they take the body of the 70-year-old man off, and also his wife. She gets hospitalized in Johannesburg, South Africa, because she is now sick. They still do not know at this point that it's the hantavirus, right? Shortly after the wife's arrival in Johannesburg at the hospital, she dies. Then, on April 27th, the ship docks at Ascension Island. Mind you, nobody knows that there's the hantavirus on the ship at this point. But they have a second person who is very sick, so they get that person off the ship at Ascension Island. That person winds up dying in the hospital there, and that is the first lab-confirmed positive test that it is hantavirus. This person died from hantavirus. And all the while, people have been allowed off the ship to do excursions, except for right now. They're not allowed off at Cape Verde, but they got off at Ascension Island. They got off at St. Helena. Some of the others that they stopped at that aren't as populated, but it sounds like it's human to human transmission. I know that everyone's saying but there's this. Look it up. Don't take my word for it. Look up what I just said.
And they really let them off the ship. Yeah.
Hey man, guys, do not fall for this. This is called Project Bluebeam. A lot of people are going to be fooled in these last days because the love of the truth is not in them. So God gives them over to a strong delusion. So they're going to believe that this is Jesus, even though this is not even Christ, how he looked like described in the Bible. This is Caesar Borgia. Project Bluebeam, look it up. Everyone, amen, hallelujah, open their hands. Wow, many people are going to be deceived. Satan deceives the entire earth.
I wasn't looking for Tartaria when I found the dark day of 1780, May 19th to be exact, when the sky went black across New England and parts of eastern Canada. Not dark, not cloudy, black. Midday turned to midnight. People lit candles at noon. Livestock returned to their barns thinking night had fallen. The darkness was so complete, so absolute, that the Connecticut legislature adjourned because members literally could not see each other across the room. The official explanation? Forest fires, smoke from distant burning woods carried by unusual atmospheric conditions. Simple, neat, contained. And for most people, that's where the story ends. But the deeper I went into contemporary accounts, the more that explanation began to crack. Because this wasn't just New England. Reports of unusual atmospheric phenomena, darkened skies, blood-red moons, ash falling from clear air, appeared across multiple continents in the late 18th century. 1780, 1783, 1784, all within a handful of years, and all, curiously, coinciding with something else. The disappearance of Tartaria from maps. Let me be clear about what we're told happened. Forest fires, common enough in pre-industrial North America, generated enough smoke to darken the sky across hundreds of miles.
That much?
The smoke lingered for most of a day, then dispersed. A natural phenomenon, unusual perhaps, but explicable. Except, the darkness wasn't gradual. Witnesses describe it arriving like a curtain being drawn. Timothy Dwight, future president of Yale, wrote that the darkness was as uncommon in its appearance as in its depth. Not smoke settling, not clouds gathering, a sudden advancing wall of blackness. And here's the strangest part. The darkness had a red-tinged quality at its edges. Multiple accounts describe a copper or brass-coloured hue to the air where the blackness met remaining light. The moon, when it rose that night, appeared blood-red through the haze. Forest fire smoke doesn't behave this way. I know because I've stood beneath smoke from wildfires. I've watched the sky turn orange, turn brown, watched ash fall like snow. But this is something different. The accounts describe not just darkness, but a quality of darkness that seems to defy simple atmospheric explanation. Samuel Williams, a Harvard professor who documented the event, noted that the darkness extended far beyond any reasonable estimate of where forest fires were burning. He calculated the affected area at over 150,000 square miles. That's not a fire, that's a regional catastrophe. So why forest fires? Why that explanation specifically?
What else could they say?
And why, when I started pulling on this thread, did I find that 1780 sits at the center of a constellation of other impossibilities? Here's where the pattern starts to emerge. 1776. American independence declared. A new nation, a new narrative, a new beginning. Fresh maps needed, fresh history required. 1780, the dark day, the sky goes black. And here's what you won't find in most history books. 1780 marks a turning point in cartography. The maps change, not in the way maps normally evolve, gradual corrections, updated surveys, refined borders. No, something else happens. The word Tartary begins to disappear, not quickly, not all at once, but systematically, deliberately, across multiple publishing houses in multiple countries. The name that had appeared on maps for centuries starts to fade. By 1820, it's nearly gone. By 1850, it's as if it never existed. Tartary or Tartaria, depending on the source, had appeared on European maps since the medieval period, designating vast territories across Central and Northern Asia. The name persisted through the age of exploration, through the scientific revolution, through the Enlightenment. It was there on Dutch maps, French maps, British maps, Russian maps. And then, in the decades following 1776, following 1780, it begins to be erased, replaced with what? With more accurate designations, we're told, with proper national and regional names, with the territories of the Russian Empire, the Qing dynasty, the various Khanates and tribal regions of Central Asia. The official explanation collapses here, because this isn't how cartographic knowledge worked in the 18th century. You didn't just erase a name that had been used for centuries without documentation, without transition, without explanation. Mapmakers were careful. They noted their sources. They explained their corrections, but for Tartary, nothing. The name just fades. If you're watching this, you've likely heard whispers of Tartaria. If this is your first encounter, let me know in the comments.
Literally, that darkness that they were speaking of. First of all, I would have been completely terrified if it just got pitch black like that. But if you all do read the Bible, it sounded like the 3 days of darkness that will overcome and take the wicked. It said that it got so dark that you could put your hand out in front of you and you wouldn't even be able to see your hand. And that it wasn't just the darkness that came, that people were tormented by certain spirits in that darkness. And the only way you were safe was if you practiced the Passover. If you guys never read that story in the Bible, I advise y'all to get to reading. Because my thing is, they've been preparing us for something like that in the coming years. They've been warning us about that. You can find articles talking about that they think it's going to be a couple days of just total darkness. And I have been wondering where they're getting that from. Oh, because it actually happened before? That it wasn't just the account in the Bible that, oh, this event happened recently. I'm not going to say recently, but a couple 100 years ago. Something else just to be, you know what I'm saying, wise to.
I don't know what's going on with the black women that's on that Democrat donkey plantation. That they got on the front line is unhinged. And it's embarrassing. It's cringing. When you gotta watch videos like this, there's a few other ones of them challenging RFK, right? But this one right here, particular, this is so cringing and embarrassing. I spoke on this before. Listen to this.
Where you said the following, and I quote, "We should not be giving black people the same vaccine schedule that's given to whites because their immune system is better than ours." Can you please explain what you meant?
There's a series of studies, I think most of them by Poland, that show that to particular antigens that blacks have a much stronger reaction. There's differences in reactions to different products by different races.
So I have 17 seconds left. Let me just ask you then. So what different vaccine schedule would you say I should have received? What different vaccine schedule should I have received?
I mean, the Poland article suggests that blacks need fewer antigens than
this is
so
dangerous.
You get the same measles vaccine.
Mr. Kennedy, with all due respect, that is so dangerous. Your voice would be a voice that parents would listen to. That is so dangerous. I will be voting against your nomination because your views are dangerous to our state and to our country.
He basically telling Miss, yo, black people DNA is superior.
Exactly.
Like y'all immune system is way stronger than white people. Y'all need fewer antigens, not androgens. In this video, I got this from somebody else, but he's telling her, you need fewer antigens as black people. It's the same as saying like we could sit in the sun and not burn up without sunblock and none of that. And it's just common sense. And he's telling her this common sense about our immune system, basically the supreme DNA. And this lady tells him he is dangerous.
This is how many sellouts. This is how many sellouts we got in a political office. Because what was dangerous about what he said? And he even said, "What, me telling the truth is dangerous?" And you would think you would hear this from a so-called white person. You would think a so-called white person would take offense to this. No, it's the person with the melanin in their skin who has the problem with what he's saying. Saying that you don't need the vaccine. No one actually needed the vaccine. That might get this video, you know what I'm saying, shadow banned, but that's the reality that we're living in. When y'all finding out what is actually in the vaccine and what it's doing to folks. Nobody was supposed to take their 19 vaccine, but you did it anyway because you got scared into doing it. But he's saying, in particularly, black folks didn't need to take the vaccine. Black folks don't really need to take any vaccine if we eating right. If you are getting your nutrients, the nutrients that your body need, all of the vitamins that your body need, that melanin gonna protect you. She talking about you. That's dangerous. Like, what are you talking about, ma'am?
She's begging to get what the white people get.
Exactly.
When he's telling you, look, you can't take what the white people take. Your immune system is stronger than theirs. And she said, you're dangerous No, I want what y'all got.
Exactly.
I want to be equal to you. I want the same thing you got. This shit is crazy.
A few years ago, Cardi B posted from the Met Gala. She didn't just show off the dress. She asked a question. And then she dropped 3 words that should have chilled everyone. Dressed to kill. We think the Met Gala is a fashion show. It's not. It's a modern-day court of Versailles. We are watching a high-level exchange of human currency in real time. Look at the word house. House of Balenciaga, House of Gucci, House of Dior. You think that's about a brand? No. In history, a house is a dynasty, or it's a maison closed, a closed brothel. Let's go back to the source, Louis XIV, the Sun King. He outlawed prostitution in Paris, but what did he really do? He centralized it. He built Versailles and created a system where you couldn't survive unless you were in. He used the fashion industry to bankrupt the nobility, so they were forced to rely on him for everything. This is where the Mindonettes come in, the seamstresses of France. These women lived in absolute poverty, stitching gold thread for the elite, but they were dressed in the finest scraps. They were the original glorified slaves, highly decorated, perfectly polished, and forced into informal prostitution to the very men buying the clothes they made. The fashion house was always a front for the power of the elite over the body. Now connect that to the House of the Rising Sun in the French Quarter of New Orleans, a city built on French blood and French occultism. There was a woman, Madame Lalaurie. She was the peak of fashion in high society. She threw the most elaborate, beautiful parties in the city. Downstairs, champagne, silk, and elite dancing. But upstairs, in the attic, horrors that the police couldn't even describe when they finally broke in. People being tortured, experimented on, and murdered while the music played below. That is the blueprint. The party is the distraction. The fashion is the camouflage for the dress to kill reality happening behind closed doors. Kind of like what happened with Whitney Houston at Clive Davis's Grammy party. It's not a conspiracy when they're showing you the Balenciaga mistakes. They weren't mistakes, they were signals. The house hasn't changed. From the Sun King's court to the French Court of New Orleans to the red carpet in New York, it is the same system. They take the vulnerable, children, models, celebrity slaves, and they dress them in the finest silks to signal their ownership, and they call it art. They call it haute couture, but when you look at the history of the house, you realize it's a slaughterhouse. Cardi was right. They are dressed to kill. The question is, who was a victim and who was a guest at the table? Stop looking at the clothes. Start looking at the house.
I've been investigating these data centers and I asked ChatGPT, well, how many data centers are actually going up? And it's thousands.
$1,500, 2,700 under construction or
it's
announced.
Like 2,700 new data centers are going up. Do you really think they need that many facilities to train AI for artificial intelligence? Guys, it is 2026. The computing power, look what's in your hand. Do you really think they need huge facilities for that? I've told you, if you've seen my other videos, a lot of my videos have already been taken down. It's not all data centers, guys. It's for a government agency. They're spending trillions of dollars on these new facilities. What do you actually think they are? I need y'all to think. If the economy's going to collapse and everything's going to come to shit, what do you think they need? They need somewhere to put us. What happens when you can't feed your family? You need somewhere to go. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say.
Y'all really need to wake up to that fact.
Where all of us people are getting together and have an international poetry revolution. Right. Black people and white poor people and red poor people and Puerto Rican poor people and Latin American Puerto Rican people of poor people of all descents. They had them caught up in movements based on racism when the Black Panther Party stood up and said that we don't care what anybody says. We don't think you fight fire with fire fists, we think you fight fire with water fists. We're going to fight racism, not with racism, but we're going to fight with solidarity. We said we're not going to fight capitalism with black capitalism, but we're going to fight it with socialism. We stood up and said we're not going to fight reactionary pigs and reactionary state's attorneys like this and reactionary state's attorneys like Hanrahan with any other reactions on our part. We're going to fight their reaction where all of us people are getting together and have an international proletarian revolution. Right on. Right on. And that's saying all power.
And that's why figures like him didn't get to live that long, because look at what's going on with the data center. Look what's going on with the economy. Look what's going on with the war. Look what's going on with the Epstein files. Look at all of these things that's going on. But as they are getting exposed, what do they keep trying to do? They keep putting things in the news to what get us to bicker and argue with each other, when all we need to do to stop all this madness from going on is come together and put an end to it, because the only reason it's happening is because of our consent. We want to bicker and argue with each other when we're supposed to be coming together to stop all of this tyranny that's going on in the world. And again, that's the purpose of this channel, is to get us to understand that and to come together. You all, they got something very bad in store for us. And over the next couple months, I pray that I'm wrong. I pray that the people in this video are wrong. But from the evidence that's getting stacked up against us, it seems like something very bad is about to happen in the next coming months. And the only way we're going to be able to get through it is if we all come together on a single mind and understand that the people who are perpetuating this evil on us have to be stopped. But you guys, let me know down in the comment section what you think. You know what I'm saying? Do you think it's a crock of BS, or do you think that it's a lot of validity to these videos? But that's going to do it for this video. Make sure you guys hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit that notification bell so that you're notified whenever I do drop a video here. We're on the road to 500 subscribers, and you guys almost got me there. We just need 6 more subscribers. So make sure you guys sub up and join the kingdom. But with that being said, King Marcel out. Peace.
It's a lie, looking for the prize. That's eternal life, and bringing the change in my mind. Talking real peace of mind.